Let's have the little itty bitty conversation. Y'all think Jay-Z's hating on Drake? Now, personally, just looking at Jay-Z's career and even Drake's career, I'm not gonna act like Drake's a slouch. We all know Jay-Z's big bucks, he's in the business, he's doing his little thing. I would sit here and be like, why does Jay-Z gotta hate on Drake for what? It makes no sense for him to hate on Drake at this moment. Until you hear certain excerpts from other people. I believe there was one, I don't have the clip, but I remember the Joe Budden podcast was, I guess, insinuating something, and they basically called him. So, first of all, the fact Jay-Z has time to, and of course, like, if motherfuckers is saying some disparaging things or things that are not true, I could see Jay-Z even being as busy as he is, or as we think he is, to get into contact with some of these folk and be like, hey, yo, what the fuck is you spouting? You know what I'm saying? So I do understand that as well. But the fact, every time, like, this Drake thing, like, really got you that upset, like, you over here, like, again, it is what it is. Don't get me wrong, like, Jaguar, right, that was over here saying, like, oh, you think Diddy bad, Jay-Z were worse, and she would always come out in the insinuation. I think, not that they got her out of here, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lawsuit came and she had to shut the fuck up, like, oh, like, because she don't got that money to go against that boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what it is. It's hilarious because I literally just watched the Joe Budden podcast, or JBP Rewind. I don't know if it's a YouTube show or it's going to be on like Patreon and everything else. But even with that being said, me literally just watching that, and then Joe saying like, hey, listen, I don't look like a whole Avenger. Like, yo, if we got some stuff, like, we could talk about it, like the stuff with the illegitimate son or whatever, like, we ain't gonna talk about, but like, if you really got something that's credible and Jay was on some bullshit, let's go. We'll talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And it was what it was. Even though I do think Joe be sidestepping a little bit, because when that Diddy conversation was that big dog, I was sitting there like, Joe, Joe. I was sitting over there. Shout out Ice. Ice kept it a buck. And I appreciate that nigga for keeping it a buck. But anyways, with that being said. So again, so the fact that Eric Dyson, is that his name? Hold on, let me get my nigga name right. Eric Dyson basically had an opinion about this Drake and Kendrick thing. And then after Jay-Z came and he disagreed with him about his thoughts about Drake and said, whatever, Drake is whatever. Also, at some point, not to say that, because I heard this conversation about, oh, Drake doesn't have classics because he didn't add to the culture. Listen, at some fucking point, you might hate the nigga. We have to acknowledge, bro, that nigga has made some hits. He has. He has. Now, again, we can have a debate about certain albums, but I feel like certain albums, bodies of work, in my opinion, Nothing Was the Same, Take Care, So Far Gone, and If You're Reading This Is Too Late, we can have a conversation. I feel like those songs at the moment carrying on to other places have stood the best of time. We always recognize those projects as some of his best work, especially as of late. He hasn't been dropping the best albums. You know, with Ebro and all these niggas having a conversation, and they can have a valid point, but we not gonna act like this nigga didn't, like, yes, he's from Canada, but this nigga didn't do nothing. Like, this nigga, he was giving us some shit. Like, let's not act like this nigga wasn't giving us no music. Like, we not gonna sit here act like he added to that shit. You hear some of these niggas coming up like, yo, Drake's a GOAT, this and that. Yeah, the niggas from Canada, but like, and also we gotta stop acting like, nigga, Canada's right there. Nigga, U.S. and Canada make North America. Yes, he's not American, but let's not act like this nigga's like fucking from Switzerland. Like, y'all niggas do too much sometimes. Y'all really do. Like, yo, the nigga right over there, he's your neighbor to the north. It's okay. It's okay. Y'all trying to go to fucking Detroit or fucking, you know what? I ain't gonna say nothing. But anyways, let's get into this shit. But anyways. But Michael Eric Dyson, oh, I thought his name was Eric Dyson. Michael Eric Dyson has been a very specific take on the beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. He's willing to admit, however, that is not how everyone sees his perspective. That includes a very good friend, Jay-Z, who Dyson says vigorously disagreed. I want to hear what he said. Of course, I got a clip that will be in the video, but let me just see some of the points he was saying.
Here, and good friend of mine disagrees with me bitterly. Well, I won't say bitterly, just aggressively and vigorously. His name is Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z. Now, I don't usually talk about the conversations that Jay-Z and I have because that's between us. That's why we remain friends, because I ain't out here blabbing about what we talk about. But he hit me up and he vigorously disagreed with my particular position. He said it with dignity. He said it with respect. He articulated his ideal intelligently. I responded to him We went back and forth for a minute, and I shared with him my essay, the 3,000 some word essay I wrote in the Philadelphia paper, where I break down what's going on between Kendrick and Drake. And he was respectful. What I love about Jay is that he's not arrogant, and he's got more reason to be arrogant than anybody we talking to, including myself, on this darn internet. And yet, in social media. And yet he chose to be graceful.
Dyson calls out Kendrick's questioning of Drake's black. Like, you know, yeah, like, I get the nigga mix, but I get the nigga's mix and it's funny. But like, he black. Like, yes, black and white, the nigga black. I'm sorry. Over the differences in their skin tone, they not like us. He compared the theme to President Trump's campaign, hunting down and deporting undocumented individuals residing in America. Okay, I'm not going to go that far. I feel like you was going somewhere that shouldn't have been said, but all right. The respected academic backs up his position by citing Drake's personal and family connections to black icons such as Sly and the Family Stone and Aretha Franklin. Dyson is not backing down, but he does confess to getting some courteous pushback from Jay-Z. So he said he hit me up and vigorously disagreed with my particular position, Dyson explains in the video. He said it with dignity, he said it with respect, and he articulated his ideal intelligently. I responded to him. We went back and forth for a minute. What I love about Jay is he's not arrogant. He's got more reason to be arrogant than anybody we're talking about. But again, the fact that, and we know Jay-Z loves Kendrick. He's been an outspoken advocate of Kendrick. But the fact with all this bullshit going on and niggas not fucking with Rock Nation, the fact you've seen all this shit and you can comment on this stuff and all this other stuff. And again, like certain stuff, like when Tony Busby was over here running with Diddy and Jay-Z was on some BS. Yes, I understand you have to respond to that. But all this other stuff that goes on, like I'm thinking you're unbothered. It's not a serious issue, or at least like the illegitimate son, like that motherfucker was trying to take you to court. So of course you got to respond to that. But like, yo, the fact like this Drake and Kendrick shit is really what you like. I gotta go talk to these niggas. I gotta respond to this. I'm really my G. Really? Because listen, at the end of the day, the battle was the battle. Niggas was talking about the shit. We still talking about this shit to this day. We still talking about it to this day. So, like, the fact he was over here, now, again, we got a conversation about Drake's blackness. I feel like that nigga is black. Now, again, yes, American black and Canadian black is different. But even still, he's a nigga. I'm not going to say he's not. That's number one. But also, like, yeah, he has... I'm not going to say he gave to the culture, but he's definitely had his moments. I'm not going to sit here and act like this nigga didn't do nothing. We're not going to act like this nigga didn't make no good music. He did. Like, I understand we not fucking with Drake and Kendrick beat him in the battle. But two things could be right. As much as Kendrick beat him in the battle, yes, Drake has gave us some music. He's given us some great albums. Now, if you want to have the classic conversation, we can. But he's given us some great bodies of work. We can't sit here and act like he hasn't. You know what I'm saying? You're just lying to yourself. You're just being like a shrewd person, honestly. But again, the fact Jay-Z's doing all this, again, and we know you fuck with Kendrick and shit like that. So now it gets to the point, like, if Drake did accept Bad Bunny's offer to perform at the Super Bowl, what would Jay-Z say? What would Jay-Z think? Also, all this shit with Rock Nation, Young Money. And if that's the case, if this nigga's sitting here calling like scholars to debate this shit, this nigga must be upset at Nicki. He probably they're calling the Grammys, doing all this shit. He's like, oh no, F that. You know, that's why when La Russell was over here talking this shit about Wayne, we was looking at La Russell like, hey, listen, big dog, you just got signed. You can have your opinion, but bro, like the way you discussing, you not peeping, like niggas ain't fucking with Rock Nation. You saying this, like it was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like that was really it. But yeah, man, hey, Jay-Z, the fact, like, yo, you got time for some of these situations, and hey, you on the internet like everybody else. You're a human like everybody else. I can't take that away from you. But the fact you over here, like, say, hey, listen, I don't know what you saying about Drake's blackness. We got to talk, Mr. Michael. Like, the fact you had time for that, Baji, all right. You should be talking about everything, because there was a point, not necessarily a smear campaign, but it was a fuck with you every time, especially the height of that Diddy shit. It was like, oh, Jay-Z was involved. The amount of, hey, you just let that shit fly. But this Drake and Kendrick shit, you like, oh, nah, I got to talk about this. That's why I'm looking at you a little sideways, like, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, of course, like, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm not gonna say he hates Drake, but they not friends. There's something there. Everybody knows there's something between them niggas. Yeah, there's something between them niggas. We don't know what it is, but anyways, what do y'all think about this little situation? You already know what it is. It's your friendly neighborhood K.A. signing off for today. The Black TJ did Wilder doing his thing. My name ring bells like Quasimodo. Hit like, subscribe. You try to hit a little bit more, you heard me, and I'm gone. Slime Zoom, peace, y'all, gang. Alright.